You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Monday, June 6th, 2022. Now, since it is the beginning of June and many of you are out of school for the summer, we are going to be celebrating the patron saints of summer all week long. And by that, I mean we are going to be talking about the patron saints of some of our favorite summer activities. Things like going to the beach, traveling, grilling, and even ice cream. It's going to be a really fun week, and I bet that you are going to hear about some saints that you did not know about before. And so today we have two French saints, the patron saint of beaches and also the patron saint of good weather. So the first of these French saints, patron saints of summer, is the patron saint of good weather. This is Saint Medarius. Saint Medarius was French, and he lived in the late 400s, early 500s, so a long time ago. And in fact, he lived right at the time when the Roman Empire was falling apart. So as you remember, of course, the Roman Empire controlled most of the world when Jesus was alive, including Judea, where Jesus lived. They included all parts of Europe, including what's now France and Germany. And when the Roman Empire fell apart in the late 400s, it had a big impact on the entire world. People were trying to take over control. There were roving armies of barbarians that were killing and pillaging. It was a really wild and dangerous time. Now, during that time, we had many saints made in our church because they worked hard to continue to spread the church and to bring stability to the church. And Saint Medarius was one of those people. He was ordained a priest. He became a bishop. He led many people, even though he would have preferred to be a monk. Now, one of the legends about St. Medarius' life is that when he was traveling to all these various places, because he was a bishop not only of one diocese, but became a bishop of two dioceses when they merged together, he would often be traveling in all sorts of weather. And because he was so prayerful and God answered his prayers, that when a storm broke out, legend has it that an eagle would fly over him to protect him from rain, so he could travel and do God's work in any type of weather. And therefore, he is known as the patron saint of weather, of both good weather and bad weather. So that's Saint Medarius. Now, the next saint we're going to talk about is Saint Adjutor. Saint Adjutor. Now, he also was French. He lived, although about 500 years later, he lived in the late 1000s, early 1100s. Now, Saint Adjutor is the patron saint of beaches and swimmers. It's always interesting to hear about saints' biographies to know why they are the patron saints of these things. Well, Saint Adjutor was also a priest, but he was part of the first Crusades. Now, this is another really interesting part of church history. So right at the year 1000, right there, Islam began to spread. Big parts of the world that had once been controlled by Christianity, parts in Africa and parts of the Middle East, they began to be almost violently overtaken by Islam. And Islam also took over the Holy Land. So places where Jesus had lived, places where he died, that was now controlled by Islamic groups that were destroying these holy places. So the Pope called all people of fighting age, if possible, to go to the Holy Land to not only reclaim these important places, but to protect pilgrims who were going there. So Saint Adjutor and many other people, not only from France, but from many European countries, went to the Crusades. He fought valiantly, but he was captured. He was captured by the Islamic army. He was about to be executed when he fled. he jumped into the sea and he swam to safety. Because of this, he is the patron saint of beaches and of swimmers. There is another legend about St. Adjutor that he later in life, after he came back from the Crusades, that he was walking along a river when he saw a dangerous whirlpool, and he saved people by throwing holy water into that whirlpool, and suddenly the danger was gone. So he had a lot of stories with water, and therefore is the patron saint of beaches and swimmers, which are my favorite places to be in the summer. So I hope no matter what your plans are this summer, you realize that there is a patron saint for all activities and that the entire communion of saints in heaven is watching over you as you relax, as you soak up some sun, as you spend some time with your family. And so, Sprouch, my challenge for you is simply to pray through the intercession of these two great saints that no matter what weather we might find ourselves in, we have a good and holy summer. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Thank you so much for listening to the Catholic Sprouts podcast. It is a joy for us to speak into your homes and classrooms each and every day. Right now, we are looking for partners for this podcast. Partners that will help us cover the costs of creating this content and also create even more better content to better serve Catholic children, families, and classrooms. If you're interested in helping us by offering prayers, shares, or a monthly gift, you can check out more information by clicking the link in the notes for this podcast episode. Thank you so much. We could not do any of this without your love and support.
This show is a production of the Spoke Street Media Podcast Network. For more great podcasts, visit spokestreet.com.